Good evening, everyone. Thank you for taking time out of your busy weeks to be here at Cross of Christ with us, celebrating the start of another school year, our 48th year of School of Instruction here at Cross of Christ. What a beautiful blessing that God has given us, that we are able to continue to minister to you as families and to the students that we cherish here also. Tonight, we are going to go through in my presentation, some school-wide information. So just some good reminders for families that are returning and for families that are new. Welcome. And great information for you to know as well as anything that's new and any changes that have come school-wide. To start with then, I would like to just go over our mission statement. It's something that the faculty does during our meetings. It's something that we try to promote with our thoughts and our words and our actions. We'll see if there we go. It says this: Cross of Christ Lutheran School partners with families to provide a quality Christ-centered education to encourage, equip, and educate students for this life and eternity. What I really love about our mission statement here is that word partner, that partnership that we have not only with our students, but also with you as parents, as stakeholders in our school, as the ones that really make our school and extend our mission beyond our walls. So throughout the presentation here, you're going to see ways that we partner together, whether that's through our CPTO, whether that's through some of the policies we look to enact, but we continue to pray that we can continue to partner together for education. Along with our mission statement, we do have a few school objectives, and I do just want to briefly go over those as well. These are things that we strive to do here at school, whether that's through our policies, whether that's through our teachings and our curricular pieces, or through the use of law and gospel that we have. First and foremost, our goal is to nurture lifelong children of God. And you'll see that in the different things that we do here at Cross of Christ. Sorry, I went the wrong direction. There you go. Through our Cougar family activities, which is where we get our students together for chapel and for service projects throughout the year, through our teachings of the Bible and its truth and purity, we nurture lifelong children of God, and we model that as teachers and administrators. Also, we pursue educational excellence. For those of you who are new and for those of you who are returning, Cross of Christ last year went through having a site team, a group of individuals that are very knowledgeable in education and best practices. We had a group of 4 individuals come here to take a look at everything that we do through something called the WELSA School Accreditation. And they looked at 237 different substandards of our ministry here and passed us with a 95% proficiency. They passed us with a 95% proficiency rate, which was accredited with high marks. So just another indicator that what we're doing at our ministry here at Cross of Christ is wonderful, it's excellent, and we're continuing to pursue that excellence as well. Next, we have promoting strong foundations. Those would be things like being critical thinkers, being resilient students, being able to adapt to change, being able to confidently profess our faith to those around us and take that out into the world with confidence. And then our final one is to reach out with Jesus, not only in our building to those around us, but also beyond the walls of our building and reaching Jesus to those who do not know him yet. Here's our school theme for this school year. You may have seen the different banners that we have upstairs, downstairs. It's actually straight back from here. You kind of see the pictures of the northern lights, you see the stars, and you see the tree line in our picture. But around there it says forever faithful, and that comes from Psalm 100, which is a psalm of thanks. How many of you are reflective thinkers? People who think, and it's a rhetorical question, you don't have to raise hands like the students do, but how many of you think, and the reason I have this question is because I'm surrounded by teachers all day and they are reflective thinkers. They think about, well, how did my lesson turn out? How did I deliver it to my students? Did they keep and understand? And I'm guessing in any job and vocation you have in life, you probably do the same thing. You're constantly analyzing, well, how did that go? Is it something that I should refine? Is it something that I do really well? Maybe some of you are goal setters in your life, in your work. Perhaps you work with a team and you're constantly problem solving or creating goals for 10 years out, 5 years out, 3 years out. Maybe some of you are New Year's resolution goers. You set goals in the beginning of the year and you look and strive to be faithful to those goals. I just looked up some of those New Year's resolutions from 2024, and some of those top ones were balancing work and home life, spending more time with the family, healthy diets, exercise, a lot of different big ticket items in life. But you've probably heard this statistic before, but within the first 2 weeks, about 90% of those are not fulfilled. People have not been faithful to those. Our theme, Forever Faithful, that word faithful means to remain loyal and to remain steadfast to something. So as I was thinking about our school theme for the year, I thought about those three things, those New Year's resolutions, goal setting with ourselves and with our family, and reflecting on our lives and thinking of how we can improve ourselves, and why do we constantly fall short on those? Right away after we do those things, we tend to get a sense of energy. We feel like, oh, there's goals that I can accomplish. I've set them out. Good thing I got backup batteries below here. Let's see if I can get the batteries out. Full. All right, as I was thinking about those things and why those things fail, I wasn't actually that surprised, because human nature is contrary to that word faithful. As humans who are sinful, fulfilling and being faithful is something that's foreign to us. It's something that we weren't born with. It's something that's really contrary to God, our Heavenly Father. Our human nature is oftentimes selfish. Rather than looking to do those big ticket items like spend more time, a better balance of work and family, sometimes greed steps in the way and we want to spend more time working because we can earn more money. Perhaps we spend that time on ourselves instead of balancing that time with our family. Perhaps we do things that seem better for us, even if they are worse for others around us in life. Faithfulness goes against our human nature. So then the question is, how do we get to heaven? God gives us a very specific and just a very simple command in the Bible: be perfect. He says, be perfect, and you can earn salvation for yourself. But taking a look at this, we've all fallen short in some aspect of our life. We've all sinned in the past. We all sin in the present. We continue to sin each and every day, more times than we can count. So that's out the window. We can't do that on our own. In fact, we can't do that at all. No part of us can earn salvation for ourselves. That's not where I'm going to end our message today, because if that's where we end, we would all be hanging our heads as we go out the door this evening. This school year, I love this passage that we have from Psalm, because we get to celebrate. We get to celebrate because we have one who is faithful. We have a Savior who is faithful to us sinners. We have a Heavenly Father who saw us as sinful, who saw us as people who disobeyed Him, who can't earn salvation because we are sinful, and had pity and mercy on us. He was willing to send Jesus, His only Son, to come to this earth in our place, to live a perfect life, to fulfill all those prophecies that God had laid out, to fulfill that prophecy of be perfect, so that we could substitute in His place and be forgiven of all of our sins. We have a Savior who is faithful for our salvation. And that's what we get to celebrate with our students this year. I want to read for you Psalm 100. I'm going to read the whole psalm because in the beginning it gives us the command that we should praise Jesus, and then it tells us why we should praise Him at the end. Psalm 100 says this: "Shout for joy to the Lord, all the earth. Worship the Lord with gladness. Come before him with joyful songs. And now it gets into the part as to why we should thank him. Know that the Lord is God. It is he who made us, and we are his. We are his people, the sheep of his pasture. Enter his gates with thanksgiving and his courts with praise. Give thanks to him and praise his name, for the Lord is good, and his love endures forever. His faithfulness continues through all generations. So as our students come in the door this year, that's going to be our message. Not that we're faithful to God because we've fallen short, but that God is faithful to us, so much so that he sent his Son to save us from our sins and to give us a spot in the marvelous paradise of heaven. We have about a half an hour left, so I have a few pieces of information that I want to run through with you. So first, what's new? We talked about our school theme. We do have some new school personnel, which will be the first thing up for us. Some updated policies, some safety measures that are just good practices for us to remember when entering the building, and then a little bit of a change to our Christmas and service and band and piano split apart. So here's our office personnel first. I'm just going to run through their names and their basic job descriptions so that whether you're returning or you're new, you know who to contact if you have any questions. Mrs. Jeanette Marnholtz is our admin assistant here at Cross of Christ. She's the friendly face that you see when you enter the building and where you check into. She is a rock star. She takes care of any school-related questions that you have. Anything from hot lunch to your fax account. She can help with certain billing pieces, sickness, general questions. She runs a summer camp in the summer, so she's got lots of great experience with just administration in general. So she is a great resource to go to. Mrs. Melissa DeRozier is our financial director. If you have any questions on tuition, billing, payments, if something doesn't quite seem right or you need something added to your account, please contact Melissa. She will be happy to assist you. Mrs. Leisha Rand is our church admin assistant, and she can also answer any general questions about the school, but also about the church and put you into contact with the pastors or myself. And Mrs. Teresa Bechtold is our communications school promotional director. She's in charge of all of our Facebook, Instagram, our social media presence, and she takes care of all that for us, as well as the Cougar News, which you see coming out weekly. Next, we have our preschool faculty and staff. We have some new faces that we would like to extend a warm welcome to. First, we have returning Miss Nikki Roper, who is our preschool director. We also have Mrs. Leah Samuelson, who's our assistant director and one of our lead teachers here. Next, we have Miss Linda Zavala Gallegos, who is new to our staff. So please, when you see her this evening, she is here. If she's in here, maybe give a wave. She's in the back there. So when you see her tonight, make sure you extend a warm welcome to her, please. And then we also have Mrs. Nicole Kukuska, who could not be here this evening, but she is also joining our preschool staff. Next, we have our K-8 faculty and staff. Myself, Mr. Mitch Giovannato, and I serve as principal here at Cross of Christ. And then we have, I'm just going to go in ascending order here. We have Miss Camilla Cole, who's our kindergarten teacher, Mrs. Kayla Becker, who's our first grade teacher, Mrs. Marissa Giovannaton, who's our second grade teacher. She will be on maternity leave to start the year, so we also have Mrs. Erin Bowl, who will be subbing for the first 8 weeks of school. You will see her this evening as well, so please extend a warm welcome to her. Mrs. Lisa Hahn is our third and fourth grade teacher. Mrs. Naomi Berner is our fifth and sixth grade teacher. She has taken over for Mr. Nate Mangus, who is now teaching down in Houston, Texas. But Mrs. Berner has been around Cross of Christ for a number of years. She has taught here. She brings experience. She brings energy. And we are so thankful to welcome her back to school. And we also have Mrs. Danielle Keene, who is returning as our seventh and eighth grade homeroom teacher. To support our faculty and staff here at Cross of Christ, we also have additional staff. We have Mrs. Emily Peterson, who's been serving as our kindergarten and first grade aide. We have Mrs. Nicole Klein, who serves as our resource teacher, helping students in kindergarten through eighth grade, whether that's extra supports, whether that's extensions. She works with small groups, but she spends a lot of time working one-on-one or in small groups with our students. And then Mrs. Shelley Wolf-Hendershot is our band and piano instructor. Our two pastors on staff, we have Pastor Ben Peterson, who is our lead pastor, and Pastor Gary Bodie, who's our associate pastor. Both of them are here this evening as well. If you have any questions tonight or anytime in the future, please contact anyone on these lists. We will happily get you answers to any questions you have. Some general school information for you. First, we are going to talk about car line procedures when you're parking out there, when you're parking out here, so that we can safely get our students to and from school and into the building. On the next slide, you're going to see a map of the car line and how our drop-off and pickup works. Please remember when you are in the parking lot to drive slowly. 5 miles an hour is a great speed, and it allows you to see everything coming at you from any angle. We do have two lines that merge when you are dropping off and picking up in the morning, which you will see on the next slide as well. Please remember that it's kind of like a restaurant style where you take turns with the person in front of you, or merging onto Highway 10 here where you kind of merge between. So one line, then the other line, one line, then the other line. Again, we go slow because we don't want car accidents in our parking lot. We don't want students being injured either. So please adhere to those and take those to heart as you consider the car line in the back. If you'll be bringing children into the building, we ask you please park in the front to walk them into the building. And then when they get into the building, we do ask that you allow them then to head to their classrooms from there, just so that they get in that routine of being independent, getting their things off and into the building, and just building those healthy habits. If for the first week of school you want to walk your child to your classroom, by all means, please do. But as we get into that second and third week of school and get into that routine, it's really good practice for them to be able to get to their classrooms by themselves. We do have pastors and myself greeting them and helping them get to where they need to get as they come in the door as well. Here is a picture of our car line. It might be a little bit hard to see from where you are, but I will try to point and walk you through that. So as you enter the parking lot from here, in the mornings and after school, you will come across here and you will park. So we usually park at about the dumpsters here, and then we have 3 airport parking spots, I guess. There'll be cones this year that'll mark 1, 2, and 3. If you're the first 3 in line, you pull up to those spots. After school, we send students out, they get in their cars, and then you pull around to here and park along here if you need to buckle your children into car seats and strap them in. That prevents backup from here. What we're trying to avoid is backing up all the way to Foley. It gets pretty close some days, believe it or not. So if you are picking up, please get your children into the vehicle quickly, pull around to the corner here, and then you can buckle them in at that point and then take off from there. Again, 2 lines start about here, and then you merge to 1 car each as you go here. Drop-off times, 7:30 a.m. to 7:45 a.m. is the preferred time. School does begin at 7:50, which means instruction starts right away at that time. Students here at 7:50 or later are counted as tardy, something that we don't want to have habits built into. So please adhere to those. Try to have your children here by 7:45 so they have a little bit of extra time to just feel comfortable getting into the building and knowing that they're ready to go. Pickup times then are from 3:15 to 3:30. School ends at 3:15, and Cougar Care does start promptly at 3:30. Students left at 3:30 are immediately sent to Cougar Care, where you will have to check them out when you arrive. If you are here after 3:30, please do not park in the back parking lot. The reason for that is we have our Cougar Care that's walking across the parking lot to the playground. If you're coming in and late and you're coming in with some speed, you may not see them as they're coming around the corner right here as you're coming in. So we'll actually have cones blocking that off this year starting at 3:30. If it is 3:30, please park in the front, ring the doorbell, we'll let you in and make sure you get your children. Along with that, Cougar Care information for you. If you were here on Tuesday, you received an infographic sheet that had some Cougar Care information. What to do. Sign students up. There were some QR codes the other day, and they're actually down in the office still. So if you didn't have a chance and you feel like you need to sign up for Cougar Care, we can get you those QR codes before you leave tonight. Due to staffing, we do generally cap Cougar Care at 20 students a day. That is really what we can support with our current staff. Our Cougar Care coordinator is Mrs. Mary Graber, who was at one time a teacher at Cross of Christ. So we are thankful that she has continued to step into that role and has taken that program under her wing. We do ask that you sign up by the Friday prior. So if you know you need Cougar Care Monday, we really need you signed up by Friday so that we can appropriately staff and know that we have the right amount of personnel ready to go for Cougar Care. Cost, again, is $10 a day, and that will be charged to your fax account. If there's an emergency and we do have spots available, we do take drop-ins for Cougar Care. Again, that is if we have room. That is an additional $10 charge since that is not a planned slot for that day, and that person is taking on an additional student. So just keep that in mind, but if there's those needs, please contact the office and we'll see if we have a spot available. There are also all-year payment options. We have 3-day all-year, 4-day, or 5-day options available. That was also on that Cougar Care sheet and QR code that you saw on Tuesday. Communication. Communication comes through RenWeb, fax, TV stations, especially the TV stations if you're looking for school closures, but you will also receive either a call or a text if school is closed, or if there are any other alerts that we need to send out to you. Parent alert, you can receive a text message for those school closings or emergency situations. And then other communication that you'll receive from the school, every Sunday you should receive something called the Cougar News. If you don't, please find me after this presentation so that I can get an email and get you on that list so that you're not missing important school information on a weekly basis. The next one will be coming out. They have just started here in August, but the next one will be coming out on Sunday. There's a lot of new information in that one, so please pay special attention as the year starts to the Cougar News that will be coming out on Sunday. School office and teacher communication. If you are trying to call in the morning, you may not receive an answer until 7:45 or shortly after, depending on when we have staffing in the office and availability to get to the phones. If you do not receive a message or receive a response, please just leave a message. We will make sure to either get back to you or honor your request at that time. If you are just letting us know that you have a sick child, you can just simply leave a message and then we will make sure that we account for your child in our system. If you need to set up a meeting with a teacher, with administration, please contact the teacher by email or phone, or set up a meeting outside of school hours or at the end of the school day. And then just a note in the morning, please, as you are coming into the building, dropping students off, please don't drop into the classrooms to deliver messages at the start of the day. It's difficult for teachers because they are trying to assist other students at that time, so that message might not be either fully heard or they may not be able to write it down, or they are assisting others and that pulls them away from what they need to do. So the best practice would be if you do have something that needs to go, please send it to the office. The office then communicates those to the teachers, or email that teacher directly the night prior or the morning of, and that teacher will get that message. Moving on to our policy portion. We have a number of policies that I just like to go over because I feel that they're important for our school, for our safety, and for best practices here at Cross of Christ. One that we really pushed for last year is doing background checks at the beginning of the year. So in that blue folder that you have, you'll have 2 copies of just basic background check forms. All it is your consent for us to check criminal databases here in the state of Minnesota so that when we are looking for chaperones for field trips, we're making sure that you're eligible to chaperone on any of those or to volunteer in the school. It is not a requirement for you to fill that out. We do strongly encourage you to at the beginning of the year, because in order to be eligible to spend time in the building, to helping out in various ways or chaperoning field trips, you do have to be background checked to do so. Rather than us trying to track you down the night before and have you fill that out and get your consent to go through that background check, doing it now and handing it to the teacher just allows us to do that at the beginning of the year, put you into our system, and make sure that we have that and are ready to go. We do this on an annual basis. They are just very basic, no fingerprinting needed for that one. Next, we have dress code updates. The Board of Education, the teachers here at school, they did update the dress code. It had been a number of years since that had been updated. I do want to just point out a few highlights. That is also in your blue packet. It also went out in an email over the summer as soon as that was passed by the Board of Education. A few updates in that dress code for you. There is a new general appearance section, which was taking pieces that didn't really fit in a category and putting them in a general appearance section. So they're not necessarily new, but this would be the section I would say is just good, healthy hygiene and best practices for students here at Cross of Christ. That would be things like no holes in pants, making sure clothes are clean that you wear to school, no pajamas, unless there's a special pajama day, things like that. Second, just an update on shorts. Shorts, making sure that they have an inseam length of at least 4 inches or mid-thigh in length. Especially for the younger grades, I know that might be hard to find a 4-inch inseam, so that's why that mid-thigh length is also in effect. So whichever one your children are more comfortable with, that is the one that you can use for that. And then third point there, another one just for you to pay special attention to, tennis shoes or sneakers are required for entry to the school day. Examples of inappropriate footwear, things that we will not allow, would be open-toed shoes, sandals, Crocs, flip-flops, boots, and etc. Again, teachers kind of have the ability to deem what is appropriate and not, which you'll see in the dress code policy. The reasoning behind having tennis shoes or sneakers at school is there's a few different reasons. One is to promote activity. Being outside and being in flip-flops, you may not be able to run around, be active, trying to get that energy out in a positive way and express that energy at a good time so that when you're in the classroom again, you're ready to learn. Another reason is safety hazards, cutting feet on playgrounds, or if we are using science equipment like beakers in science, if there's a broken glass on the ground, that prevents some of those injuries from taking place as well. Sneakers and tennis shoes don't mean athletic running shoes. They could be Converse, they could be Hey Dudes, they could be different variations of closed-toed shoes, just as long as they are we're trying to promote that active footwear. Absences, I'm not going to read that for you. It's there. You will have access to these slides too if you want to see them. I just want to highlight that the importance of being in school. If your child is going to miss school, please make sure you contact the school. If we do not receive a message from you, that is considered an unexcused absence. In the state of Minnesota, if you have 3 unexcused absences without communication to the school, you are in violation of truancy, being truant. And you'll see that in our handbook, and you can see that in the bottom paragraph as well. But there are legal penalties for being truant, and especially after you reach about that 6 to 8 day of unexcused absence marks. So just a pleading for you and just a good reminder to make sure that if you're going to be missing school, you let us know ahead of time so that we don't have to mark your child as unexcused. So excused absences may be severe illness or illness in general, as long as it is articulated to the school. Emergencies, prearranged medical appointments, dental appointments, things like that. Family trips, as long as you have provided the school with notice. Unexcused absences would be missing the bus, sleeping in, different things you can see there, running errands before school starts. Car trouble, that can be one that can go both ways, or excused absences would also fall in if there's bad weather and you're trying to get to school. That would fall in the excused. Just please let us know as soon as you can. But if it's going to prevent you from getting to school safely, just let us know when you get here. Along with absences, this is just the tardy policy that was updated last year. You can go ahead and read through that, but that dovetails nicely with our absence policy. Please make sure your children are here by 7:50. That is when school starts. And by being here, that doesn't mean walking up to the door and opening it. They do need to be in their seat in their classroom at 7:50 to be counted as present. If they are just running into the building at 7:50, that is still tardy because the day and instruction does begin at 7:50. Sick policy. Good reminders for us. If your child has a fever of 100 degrees or more, they must stay home and be fever-free without medication for a full 24 hours before they may return to school. So if your child who goes home midday on Monday, Jeanette will probably speak to you and say, we'll see you Wednesday, just to allow that 24 hours to kick in and for your child to also recover appropriately before coming to school and being tasked with school activities. I think that's all I wanted to say on that one. A few safety procedures, just good, healthy habits again for us. To prevent unauthorized individuals from entering our building during the school day, I'd like you to please abide by the following things. Please do not hold the door open for others as you enter the building unless you 100% absolutely know that individual. I know as good Christian and good Lutherans, we love holding the door open for people, and that's such a wonderful thing, and I appreciate that dearly. But at school, we just want to make sure that everyone entering our building is accounted for, that they ring the doorbell, that we're able to buzz them in and make sure they get to the office. What we don't want is people that we don't know, whether they're from here, there, wherever they come from, coming into our school and us not knowing or not catching them in time to ask them what they need. All individuals, even if we know who you are and you're coming to pick up your child early, please check into the office upon entering the building. We will either have you wait in the office if you're waiting to pick up a child, or we'll give you a visitor's badge if you are helping with hot lunch, if you're volunteering for something. That way the teachers, if they are working and they don't recognize you, they see that badge on there and they don't have to contact the office saying, oh, I don't know who's upstairs, can you please verify? So we do have badges in the office for that. Thank you for partnering and keeping Cross of Christ safe. We duly appreciate it. Phone and technology policy. This is one that has been in our handbook. It just needed a little bit of updating with the words. All types of electronic devices, including cellular phones, video game devices, Wi-Fi or cellular-based smartwatches, should remain at home or in a backpack turned off. Reasoning for this is we want to make sure that we are having proper channels of communication and not distracting from the learning environment. What we want is for proper communication to come from parents to the school, to the teacher, so that if there's anything that children need or they need to go home because they're sick, that the office is first notified and then notifying the teacher from there. Also, we don't want those items to detract from the learning environment. Very briefly, our lunch program. I know many of you got this information on Tuesday, but if you did not, there is a slide here for that. Lunches this year will again cost $4, much as they have the last 2 years. Please sign up the Wednesday before in your fax portal if you are going to be using lunch. The reason you have to do that is because we do cater through a third-party company called Premier Catering, and they need to know by Wednesday what to prepare in order for that next week so that we can have our hot lunch served to us. Additional information, there is no hot lunch that first week of school. Please pack cold lunches on those first 4 days of school. Once the public school is back in session and September starts, we will have hot lunch options starting September 3rd. We do have milk available at the beginning of the school year. If you have not had a chance to verify your milk order through fax or on Tuesday at the supply drop-off night, you can certainly touch base with me and do that. If you signed up on fax and you signed up for milk or didn't sign up for milk and you don't want to, then you are good to go. CPTO is our next stop this evening. The Christian Parent-Teacher Organization is something that you are all part of here at Cross of Christ. It's an organization that's run by both parents and teachers, and it was established as a support base for both parents and for students and for staff. There are 3 annual meetings that we have. And at those meetings, you can expect to receive reports from the principal, from the athletic director. You can expect to have opportunities as parents to network, to ask questions on curriculum, on policies, to network with one another and make new connections with different families, and then also to find ways to volunteer and to decide what the school would like to fundraise for to continue to promote excellent education at Cross of Christ. So we encourage you to come to these meetings, to meet with other parents, and to gain an awareness of some of the upcoming events. If you were not able to come on Tuesday, there are sheets underneath the church, just right next to the door to go outside, kind of where you see the Thrivent shirts that are by the entrance to the school. Please grab a flyer. It's got the CPTO sponsored events for the year on it. It's also a chance for you to find out about classroom needs and then be part of a team that helps Cross of Christ succeed. We are always looking for new individuals who feel that they have the time and energy to step into some of those leadership positions within our CPTO. We've got a wonderful group right now that is spearheading a lot of different things, but if you come to some meetings and you think that's something you can provide some energy for and provide some fresh ideas as well, please speak with our CPTO president, Teresa Bechtold, or any members of the CPTO as well, and they will be happy to assist you. Here is that flyer that you will see downstairs, just a screenshot of it. There are two ways that you can help. One is by volunteering yourself. Come to meetings, volunteer for different events like Trunk or Treat, our spring carnival, all these different opportunities that you have to be part of Cross of Christ and really to get yourself into the culture here at school. If perhaps you don't have time to give, but you still want to give, we do have a donation QR code set up as well. You are certainly welcome to use that if you wish. Thanks for your support, and we encourage you all to join us for our first CPTO meeting on September 18th. That is a Wednesday evening. I believe childcare is provided. Final couple points for this evening. Why different nights for our Christmas service and band and piano recital? First, we have the time to do that. It grants us the ability to give both of those different programs the time they deserve. When we put them together on both nights, it gets to be a very long night. We seem to have to kind of rush through that band and piano recital in order to get to the Christmas service so that we can get everyone out of here at a decent hour as well. So in order to give our young musicians who are putting the whole semester's worth of time and effort into preparing for their band and piano recital, we want to make sure that they have the time to really prepare those pieces and play them without feeling rushed. So breaking up those nights takes away that time as a factor piece. It also will minimize distractions for the musicians because there was different times for students to be here. Piano students had to be here at a specific time, band students at a specific time, and then students not in those were going to classrooms at a specific time, and parents were walking in halfway through the service because that's when their child was supposed to be here. So taking that piece away also allows those musicians to really focus on what they're doing, and it also allows the Christmas service to stand alone as it is as well. So the two dates are there for you. They're also on the calendar located in your blue folder. Final couple thoughts then. Annually, I articulate this to you that under FERPA law, the Family Educational Rights and Policy Act, this deals with your child's educational records. So if you ever have questions about their report cards, their testing that we do and that we keep on file, you have the right to inspect your child's records. We just need a request from you to do so. You have the right to seek to amend your child's records if you feel that something is inaccurate. You have the right to consent to disclosure of personally identifiable information from their records. And then number 4, you have the right to file a complaint with FERPA if you feel that we have not complied with the FERPA regulations. If you have questions on those, please feel free to see me. So what's next this evening? I've got 1 minute to spare. Wonderful. Next, you're going to have about 5 minutes of passing time before we get to the classroom sessions. As noted on here, each teacher is going to be doing 3 presentations. It's the same thing 3 times, but that will allow you to get to each of your teachers prayerfully to see what classroom expectations are like. So session 1, you choose. If you have 2 students in the building, pick 1 to go to and you can listen to that teacher's presentation. Once I give the switch over the intercom, you will go to your next child teacher's presentation in a different room. When you are all done, so if you have one child after that first session, you are free to go for the evening. There's nothing more here for you tonight. If you have 2 children, then after those first 2 sessions, you are free to go. If you have 3 children, then you're staying till the end. I apologize. Unless you brought both spouses and you would like to divide and conquer. You can certainly do that as well. If you have more children than that, you might have to divide and conquer, or you can work with the teacher and set up a separate time to go through those. Teachers will not release you until that 7:10 mark after that first session, because some teachers may take all the way to that 7:10, and we don't want them to feel rushed as they're finishing their presentations. If a teacher finishes early and you are done for the night, you are free to go early. Thank you for your time this evening. I will take a few questions if anyone has any. Otherwise, you can see me right after this as well. Again, thank you for celebrating the start of our school year here at Cross of Christ. May God be with you this evening. God bless.